Today, we are undertaking a really fascinating deep dive into the artistic journey of California artist Teresa J. Sharp.
Mm.
Our mission here isn't just to, list her awards. Her CV is impressive for sure, but we want to trace the path, the emotional, the geographical path that really fueled her entire career.
Right.
We're going to track her from her beginnings in the San Joaquin Valley through this really critical midlife reinvention, and finally land on the profound philosophy that informs everything she does now.
And that's such a crucial way to frame it, because the sources we have, a solid biography, a detailed CV, and a really candid press interview,
Yeah.
they give so much more than just what she paints.
Exactly.
They let us connect her personal challenges, her spiritual motivations, directly to the art she's creating. It's a whole picture of an artist who found her vocation really a bit later in life, but with just immense purpose.
Okay, let's unpack this journey. Let's start with those California roots and an initial career that, well, that had a pretty significant pause in it.
A very long pause.
So Teresa Sharp, she grows up in the San Joaquin Valley, and she's noticing the subtle beauty there, the farms, the wildflowers, those coastal sunsets.
Things a lot of people might just drive past.
Right. And that early artistic eye was nurtured. She got foundational training in oil painting, Shafter High School, Bakersfield Community College in 1980, and Fresno State a year before that. So she started strong.
But then, as you said, life shifts gears. And for several decades, that artistic momentum just stops
Right.
completely.
Yeah.
She dedicated herself to being a homemaker, raising her family.
And a lot of volunteer work, too.
A huge amount of volunteering in women's ministry groups.
Yeah.
And while she described that as a fulfilling season of life, she was also incredibly honest in that interview. By her late 40s, she knew she was dealing with significant burnout
Yeah.
and depression.
That context is so powerful. It makes the reinvention feel so much more real. It wasn't some grand plan. It was a personal crisis. And it started with simple self-care. She found her way back to creativity just by reading Julia Cameron's classic, The Artist's Way.
A book that has started so many journeys like this.
It really has. And then, I love this part, she just took a basic watercolor class at her local senior center in Morgan Hill.
And that one small step, that senior center class, that's what unlocked the courage for the really big one. A trip to France about 15 years ago for an artist's retreat.
This was a huge deal for her, right?
Massive. She told the interviewer she had this paralyzing fear of traveling alone. So the act of just getting on that plane, flying overseas to immerse herself in art, that was the true turning point.
Wow.
She said that one adventure changed the trajectory of my life. It's proof that moving through fear is maybe the biggest catalyst for growth there is.
That's a huge psychological hurdle to clear. And you can see that once she got back, she didn't lose that momentum. She went right back to solidifying her skills.
Color and basic drawing at Evergreen Community College in 2012.
So the emotional breakthrough came first, and that really prepared her for the technical commitment that she needed.
Absolutely. And that commitment was immediately tested by a massive geographical change. Her husband, Lenny, got a temporary work assignment in Yokohama, Japan, from 2012 to 2016.
So wait, she goes from a senior center watercolor class and a trip to France to full immersion in art training in Japan. What did that do to her art?
It was profoundly formative. This is where she moved beyond just technique and started refining a true artistic sensibility.
How so?
Well, Japanese culture has this intense reverence for beauty, right? Especially the fleeting stuff, the changing seasons, the quality of light. That whole aesthetic of wabi-sabi, finding beauty in imperfection.
I see.
She trained at a small art school there and just thrived. It led to a solo exhibition in 2015 and then a duet exhibition with Yuka Harada the next year.
And you can see that influence all over her work today. I mean, the subject matter, the koi, the geisha, the luminous florals, that all comes from those years.
Without a doubt. And it led to major awards. Her watercolor Koi Pond at Kyoto Cafe won first place in 2023. More recently, Jewels of the Pond also took first place.
It's amazing.
And if we connect that back to the bigger picture, living in Japan forced a huge mindset shift. She said it moved her away from her default, which was a kind of worst-case scenario approach to life. It fostered this deep curiosity. It didn't just teach her to paint. It drove her personal growth, which you can see directly in the confidence of her work now.
Okay, so that brings us from the how and the where of her training to the real core of her practice, the why. What is the motivation that turns this from a successful hobby into a true vocation?
This is the key insight, I think, for anyone trying to sustain serious growth, artistic or otherwise. Her whole practice is anchored in one core concept: the artist, as a co-creator.
Co-creator. And what does she mean by that exactly?
She's being very specific. It's explicitly tied to her faith, to her Christian faith.
When she says creator, she means God.
Precisely. She states it directly. I see all humans as co-creators, designed to reflect our Creator by bringing order out of chaos and beauty from ashes. That conviction is the engine for everything she does.
That idea of honoring God through the act of creating that's powerful. It's a devotional act.
It is. She seeks to paint with gratitude and intense attentiveness. It grounds her entire practice in a purpose that's bigger than just painting a pretty picture.
So her goal is, in a way, spiritual. Lifting our gaze, I think she said, above the often dark and harsh realities of life.
Exactly. She hopes that viewers find these moments of peace, wonder, and gratitude.
So let me ask you this. If the goal is order out of chaos, how does that actually manifest on the canvas? Does she lean towards, say, hyperrealism, very controlled work, or does she embrace the chaos of a looser medium and then impose order on it?
That is a fantastic question because her technical choices really reflect that tension. She loves watercolor, which is spontaneous, and acrylic for its versatility, but lately she's been using a lot of gouache and acrylic gouache.
Why those specifically?
She says it's for their balance of opacity and spontaneity,
So she can build structure and control with the opacity.
while still letting the medium move freely. It's the technical equivalent of bringing order to raw, beautiful chaos. Okay, now we have to talk about the most unexpected detail we found in the sources.
I love this part.
This commercial collaboration that seems so out of left field.
Right. In 2025, she did a project for Benefit Cosmetics. She created a time-lapse painting.
But the medium wasn't paint.
The medium was Benetint, the company's liquid lip and cheek stain.
That's incredible. Using a cosmetic as your pigment, it just raises so many questions about artistic constraint.
Imagine how challenging that must have been. You're forced to innovate, to treat this commercial product as a very specialized, very unusual kind of watercolor.
And the time-lapse component adds another layer of pressure.
Exactly. It shows her adaptability, her willingness to engage with creative problems. It's a powerful statement about how fine art skills can translate into these really unexpected spaces. That really speaks to her eagerness to just keep learning, doesn't it? I mean, her repertoire is so broad. She says she dabbles in charcoal, pastels, oil, still life, portraits, florals, landscapes.
And since moving back to California in 2016, settling in Oakhurst, right near Yosemite, she's naturally been focusing on the Sierra Nevada landscapes.
You can see that balance you were talking about in those acrylic pieces. They're known for their layered glazing and dramatic contrasts of light and shadow.
Yes, she's using light to lift the viewer's gaze, which, again, connects right back to that core philosophy.
And the awards prove she has mastered that range. We absolutely have to talk about the Best in Show she won at the 2019 Sierra Artists Gold Rush Show.
A huge recognition.
It is, and the winning piece, it wasn't a landscape. It wasn't one of her signature watercolors.
No, it was a charcoal still life drawing. It was called Still Dark in the Light.
A charcoal drawing, winning Best in Show. It says so much about her foundational skill, the pure discipline of line and shadow.
It's a crucial detail. It proves she has that hardcore drawing ability, which stands in stark contrast to her later first-place wins in a fluid medium like watercolor, like the Grace piece in 2024, or those koi paintings. She has both sides of the coin.
And speaking of fluidity, she's recently made a big push into plein air painting.
Right, painting outdoors.
She calls it a joyful challenge, but also vital. What makes it so vital for her?
The direct challenge to her more controlled studio work. Plein air forces you to make decisions faster. The light is changing constantly.
So you have to be looser.
You have to be. It strips away the chance to overanalyze everything. She says it deepens her appreciation for the fleeting qualities of light and color. It's a perfect counterbalance.
Her commitment to the craft clearly goes beyond her own studio. She's deeply involved in the art community now that she's back in California.
Oh, very. She's in the Yosemite Sierra Artists, or YSA. She's a member of the Art Inspiration Group, AIG, which is a 9-woman collective. And then there's the California Watercolor Association and the California Art Club.
And that network isn't just for showing work. It seems to be about continuous growth. I mean, a formal mentorship with Matt Smith, attending conferences like Watercolor Live, Acrylic Live,
Gouache Live. And she's planning on the Plein Air Convention.
Yeah.
It shows she sees art as an active vocation. It requires lifelong professional development. That's a huge lesson for anyone listening. Talent is one thing, but commitment is key.
And because she went through that whole re-engagement process herself, She offers really practical advice for people who might be hesitant to start. Her number one tip is just get started.
Just begin. Don't overthink it. She says get a sketchbook, a pen, a little travel watercolor set, but the supplies aren't the most important part.
It's the mindset.
It's the mindset. You have to think of it as playful practice. She's very clear. Do not try to create a masterpiece when you're starting out. That pressure just kills creativity.
That shift from masterpiece to playful practice is probably the biggest hurdle for any beginner.
It is.
Yeah.
And she recommends things to keep the momentum going, like following prompts online, taking classes, even painting, along with free YouTube tutorials.
Right.
And she gives a lot of credit to local groups like Yosemite Sierra artists. Those calls to artists for shows. They give you a deadline. They push you out of your comfort zone.
So when we pull this all together, what does it mean? Teresa J. Sharp's career is just a masterclass in re-engagement, in global influence, and in the power of having a core philosophy. You can see how that desire to honor the creator and bring order out of chaos fuels every single technical choice she makes, whether it's capturing light in the Sierras or the movement of koi in a pond.
And the key takeaway for you, the learner, is that her journey proves that real, profound growth is driven by twin engines. You need the knowledge development, the drawing classes, the mentorships, but you also need that philosophical clarity, the powerful why. In her case, the co-creator principle. You need both the skill and the purpose to sustain a true vocation.
So we'll leave you with this thought. Her art seeks to bring order out of chaos. Consider what specific forms of chaos in your own life, maybe your work schedule, a personal goal, a creative project, could be transformed by applying that same intention, that careful observation, and just a moment of gratitude, even if your medium isn't paint.